afternoon. My name is Lori Peterson, and unfortunately my father's not here today because 80-year-old men do not listen when you tell them they can't do their own snow plowing and shoveling, and he's paying for that dearly right now. But actually, I've been very deeply involved in this for the last year, and I'm really so excited to have you all here and be able to help present this program to you. So on behalf of my family, National Harbor, VPP, and Rushion Baker and his staff, we're really happy to have you here today to listen to the exciting initiative that we want to talk about. Part of the agenda today, we'll be talking about two big issues that we have in Prince George's County. One is that we have a majority of our young people coming out of high school that will not be able to go to college, who have not very good job options. Well, they have great job options, but they don't have the training to fill the many jobs that are out there. And the other problem that we have is we have many businesses, and we're hoping to attract new businesses that need a trained labor force. So we've worked very hard with the county, with Dr. Maxwell and his staff to try and figure out how can we help businesses help themselves. And to do that, we do need their help for this plan. But private money and corporate money is really often the partnership that makes a difference. So we're really hoping today to make the case for why investing in Prince George's County and their youth is an investment, and is an investment for the county and its economic stability. So thrilled to have. We were told that we couldn't raise money in Prince George's County, and I'm hoping you guys can prove us wrong. But I think we have a lot of information that you'll find very interesting. So thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy your meal while you're listening.
Thank you, Lori. I'm Brad Seaman, VPP board member, and I'm here today to be your MC and kind of lead you through the afternoon. As Lori said, it's great to see all of you here today to hear about this new program, Ready for Work, Champions for Career and College-Ready Graduates in Prince George's County. The size and cross-section of this group illustrates that Prince George's County is no longer the best-kept economic development secret in the Washington, D.C. area. Some of you have been doing business in Prince George's County for years, but what makes this gathering a little different is our focus on giving you the opportunity to learn more about and to participate in a solution to help you meet some of your workforce development needs with a diverse, well-trained group of young people that are ready for work. Additionally, you'll learn about career academies, which have proven to be an effective strategy over the long term in increasing wages and employment rates of some of our most vulnerable young people that may not otherwise ever have the opportunity to reach their full potential. Before we continue, I really should recognize our host committee today. So if I call your name, if you could please raise your hand or stand up, I'd appreciate it so you can be recognized. First, Artist Hampshire Cowan. Mr. Zeno St. Cyr. Mike Erico, who I believe is not here. Jimmy Stepp in the back. Andre Gingles, who I haven't seen, out of town. Okay, David Harrington, who's hiding back here, or was. The NAI Michaels Company. John Peterson, Lori Peterson, who you just met, and Delegate Jay Walker. So as we get started here and I kind of lay out the purpose for you, what I'd like to do is take you back a few years to set the stage of why we are here today and what this is all about. So as many of you know, in December 2010, Rushion Baker was sworn in as a Prince George's County executive. And as many of you also know, early in 2011, there was a violent crime spike in Prince George's County to welcome the new county executive. He directed his law enforcement team to get control of the situation, understanding if not, it would be a very long summer. The police department and his law enforcement team responded by implementing the Summer Crime Initiative based on sound business principles like data analysis, cross-functional collaboration, and strategic focus. Mr. Baker watched the Summer Crime Initiative reduce crime in the targeted areas by double digits. As he articulated his vision for Prince George's County to improve public safety, education, healthcare, which would lead to an economic development explosion in the county, he recognized that the Summer Crime Initiative revealed the strategy to achieve this vision. Patterned after that initiative, but focused more broadly on education, economic development, and community development, Mr. Baker launched the Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative based on these same principles. Realizing the resources were limited and partners outside the executive branch of government were needed to make the T&I successful, Mr. Baker invited venture philanthropy partners to consider Prince George's County as its first local government partner and the place to implement their innovative Youth Connect model. The County Executive's Office, the Prince George's County Public Schools, and VPP conducted a collaborative process over several months which selected Suitland High School, which is in a T&I area, as the place to implement Youth Connect. Having achieved success collaborating with nonprofit programs that focus on improving the quality of life for vulnerable youth, VPP decided to build upon the Career Academies model that was already functioning in the school system and, in particular, at Suitland High School, and to wrap the Youth Connect safety net around the Career Academy participants to combine the technical and industry-specific training that the academies offered with the foundational life skills, healthy behavior training, and expanded internship experience offered by the Youth Connect program. This has become the Ready for Work program. So that there's a strategic solution that VPP has put together, and that'll be explained to you today. But there's one piece needed to make this puzzle a masterpiece. The business community is the last piece with your financial and human resources to invest in this effort in return for access to a pipeline of career and college-ready high school grads that will be ready for work. So at this time, I'd like to move on through the program and to introduce our next speaker, who is James Coleman, the CEO of the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. So while we all know CEO as the traditional Chief Executive Officer, James has replaced that tradition with a new title, Chief Enthusiasm Officer. I've known James for more than 30 years now. As the county executive, James and I all graduated from Howard University in 82, 83, and 84, respectively. I was last, so I'm the youngest. I can personally attest to his ability to fill a room with enthusiasm, not only from his student government days at Howard, but also when the county executive brought him in to inspire a tired and weary campaign leadership team during one of his multiple campaigns for county executive. I vividly remember lying on the floor during James's team building session and looking up at James as he pumped us up for another run and saying to myself, where does this guy get all this energy and enthusiasm from? So here's James Coleman, Chief Enthusiasm Officer of the Prince George's County EDC, as he will frame the economic development and workforce opportunity challenges in Prince George's County. James.
Brad, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. It is a pleasure and honor to be here. I just truly feel blessed to have this opportunity. 37 years ago, meeting Brad and the county executive, met the county executive on my first day of going to Howard University. I came up from Kentucky and I looked like Forrest Gump, and he walked in my room and he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm James Coleman from Kentucky." He said, "I never have met anybody from Kentucky." And I said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "My name is Rashawn Baker. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts." And our friendship began on that day, and I've been blessed as a result of it. And it is a pleasure being here as the County Executive's CEO of the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, and to be a part of this incredible momentum that the county is experiencing. 5 years ago, when the economy was really hurting, versus this morning, as a result of County Executive Baker's incredible leadership, we've got 12,000 more of our residents who got up and went to work this morning, you all. And then as a result of that, $1 billion more in the private payroll as a result of his leadership and the partnership of this incredible business community that we have here in Prince George's County. We've got nearly $10 billion in a total amount of projects that are going on in this incredible county, from the casino that we have going on to what we're trying to do with the various metro stations, as well as a brand new hospital on the way. We are making it happen. At the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, we're focused on a few key priorities. Number one being, we want to make sure that we're holding on to the 16,000 employers that we already have here in this incredible county. We've launched a campaign called We Care, where we're going out to talk to our largest 500 employers, because they represent nearly 50% of the total number of jobs that we have in the county. And I'm pleased to let you know that we've met with a total of 263 of them, and they are right now in the middle of increasing the number of jobs at their various locations by a factor of over 5,000 new jobs here in the county. We're also going outside the county to invite other companies to come here and to experience the incredible fire and excitement and the opportunity here in Prince George's County. When I go over to Northern Virginia, or when I go over to DC, I'd like to say we'll cross the Potomac, the Pacific, or the Atlantic to go and get somebody to move here to Prince George's County. And I'm not going over there groveling and begging. I'm telling them we've got 14 federal agencies. We've got a workforce that's got over 30% of our residents with college degrees. We've got an incredible lifestyle here with 27,000 acres of parkland. We've got 15 metro stations. We've got affordable space for office space where we can save you up to 40% on what you're probably already paying. But we're not here to grovel and beg to get you to come here, because we've had incredible success. What we're here for today is to talk about how do we make sure that our young people are prepared to take on these incredible opportunities. And so another big part of my job, and I've got our director, Liz Williams, who's the Director of Workforce Development for Prince George's County. Liz, if you could raise your hand. Liz and her team, they are literally angels. They have wings on their backs, and they're working with our residents. If you don't have a job, as Liz would say, we'll get you any job. Once you get your any job, we'll get you a better job. Once you got a better job, we'll get you a career. And then after that, you can run for county executive or to become the next Milt Peterson. And we'll help you on that. But whatever you want to do, we're here to help you along your career. And I'm pleased to let you know that with the county executive, as well as with President Barack Obama, we received a $7 million grant from the Labor Department about 2 years ago. And it was for our very own Youth Career Connect program. That program is on fire. And we've had that program to be able to go to 3 key high schools here in the county where we've experienced incredible success, starting off with Bladensburg, Potomac, as well as Fairmont Heights. I've personally gone out to talk to these students, and I've met them. They're the next Steve Jobs. They're the next Barack Obamas and Rashawn Bakers out there, and they are glowing with excitement, and we're helping them to be able to get through this program, a total of 422 that are right now in the program. Last summer, we placed 66 of them in great jobs, and I want to thank our key partners out there that helped us to be able to find them jobs. We've got some friends here today from Lockheed Martin. I saw them earlier when we were first walking in. They helped to put a lot of our students to work, as well as Dimensions Health. And I'm pleased to let you know that we've got over 200 opportunities coming up this summer for our students to be placed. President Barack Obama started us off with a seed capital of $7 million. We're going to have that through next year. So we're going to have to find a way with our business community and our partners here today and the rest of the entire business community to find a way to keep this incredible program moving forward, because we've got to make sure our youth are ready to take on these IT jobs, these highly professional jobs, these high-wage jobs that we're trying to retain here in the county, as well as where we're trying to help to attract. So it is a pleasure being here today. Thank you very much for this incredible opportunity, and I look forward to a continued great partnership. Have a great day.
Thank you, James. So as you see, he has no shortage of enthusiasm. So James has laid out some of the opportunities, not really many challenges that we face here in Prince George's County. I want to invite our next speaker, who will describe a strategy to face our challenges and opportunities. Carol Thompson Cole is the president and CEO of Venture Philanthropy Partners. For Carol, I will take the liberty of making her CEO title Chief Execution Officer, because many of us in this room know that Carol gets things done. Carol's a local legend from her days as the first woman, and at that point, the youngest DC administrator, and also to her work in the Clinton administration and now leading VPP. Carol will describe what Ready for Work is and explain how it can bolster Prince George's County. But before I ask Carol to come up, I want to share a few things about VPP, because as I mentioned, I am a proud board member. Over the last 15 years, VPP has raised $100 million to help children, youth, and low-income families in the National Capital Region access quality education, health care, and career training. VPP's high engagement investment style blends a private equity approach of investing with time-proven best practices from foundations and nonprofits. This allows VPP to keep and create long-term, systematic change that improves the outcomes of our region's most vulnerable young people, and that is exactly what we need here in Prince George's County. So I introduce to you Carol Thompson Cole.
Thank you, Brad. And I want to thank all of you for coming out today. I have talked with so many of you over the last few years about the work that VPP is doing and our interest in being here in Prince George's County. So I can't stop smiling. So I thank you all for being here. First thing I'd like you to do is think back a moment. Everybody think about your first job. For me, my first job was at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. At that point, I thought I was going to go into international affairs. My grandfather got me the job. It was the summer between high school and college. And so at that point, I was considered a bookworm. Most people would say a nerd today. But my grandfather said, you have all these ideas of what you want to do, but you don't know anything about work. So it's time for you to get a job. So I went to the Department of Agriculture that summer. And I was a program aide. I was really a gopher. I did whatever anybody wanted me to do. But I made a lot of mistakes, but people really taught me and gave me the opportunity to do more. And that summer was very successful for me. I was highlighted in the USDA news. I learned how to be eager to volunteer, to learn new things. I learned about networking. But I think most important for me, I had a female boss, and so I got my first female manager role model. So all of us have had experiences like that, and they really impact our lives and our careers. And so today I realize that it's the importance of adults in our lives that make connections, give us advice, and motivate us to be our best that really make the difference. So like so many of us in this room, we've been given the opportunity, and I think we've maximized it. But that same opportunity doesn't exist for all young people in our region, and particularly in Prince George's County, Maryland. So many students are leaving high school not prepared for college or work, as Brad said. In 2011, 80% of the high school graduates needed to take a developmental math course when they enrolled in the community college. Now let that number sink in. That's thousands of young people that can't do basic math. They're not ready for a freshman accounting course. They're not ready to be a cashier. They're not ready to calculate unit conversions on a construction site. So they're not ready for work or for college. So the heart of the issue, as you've heard already by our speakers, is that our youth need to reach their full potential, and our businesses need to fill positions with talented and skilled employees. And at VPP, we believe the time is now. Over the past few years, we've been working in partnership with Prince George's County's administration, the public schools, local business leaders, and a number of nonprofits. So you've heard the initiative is Ready for Work, career and college-ready graduates in Prince George's County. So now I'm going to tell you what our goals are. By the year 2021, 2,100 students will have graduated career and college ready to support the economic development here in Prince George's County. We're also going to build a pipeline of talent. So beginning in 2022, more than 900 students are projected to graduate every year prepared for employment and college. So I guess you wonder, how are we going to do this? We're implementing a 3 strategy across 3 schools. They're Suitland High School, High Point, and Oxon Hill. We're already in Suitland High School, and we're developing the programs for the other 2. So here's what we plan to do. First, we'll strengthen the school's career academies so that they serve more students at a higher quality. Prince George's County Schools recently integrated career academies into all of their high schools. These career academies help students develop both the academic and in-demand technical skills that are relevant to different job sectors and college enrollment requirements. Everything from computer science to carpentry gets taught in the career academies. We know that success at work depends both on the person's mastery of academic, technical, and foundational life skills. So the second part is implementing Youth Connect in the high schools. Youth Connect is VPP's partnership with a group of high-performing nonprofits that collaborate with the schools to improve students' readiness for employment and post-secondary education by developing their foundational life skills. The nonprofits that we picked up have undergone a rigorous selection process, and they are the best at what they do. We currently are working with College Summit, Hillside Work Scholarship Connection, Maryland Multicultural Youth Center, Urban Alliance, and Year Up. These nonprofits teach students developing career goals, time management, appropriate behaviors in the work environment, and applying to college and technical education programs. And our third strategy is to make sure students have real work experiences before they graduate. We all know the research. The earlier we get started, the better. When young people get connected to the job experiences at an early age, they are more likely to be employed and stay employed as adults. We are partnering with business leaders and employers like you to make certain the skills and competencies students are learning are relevant. So you want to know how to get involved? There are several ways. We'd like you to join the Career Academy's advisory boards to give advice and counsel on the design of key elements of this initiative. We'd like you to provide internships, and definitely we need you to donate money. Ready for Work is a $15 million investment. That's a lot of money, but it's money that we need to raise. And I think all of us know, if you don't put the money on the front end, you have to put the money on the back end. And we owe these young people to put it on the front end of their life. So we have... So we're pleased to say that we've already raised $5 million through... It's through philanthropic investors, the county, and VPP. But we need your help. We'd like everyone in this room to be a champion for Ready for Work. So thank you again for coming, and you'll hear from us later on, and you'll hear from us after today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. So Carol's laid out the 3-pronged strategy that we have for the Ready for Work program. First, strengthening the career academies. Then, number 2, bringing in a network of youth development nonprofits into the high schools to teach foundational skills, and then third, offer internships and jobs. So up next, we have a youth from Prince George's County who has graduated from a career academy, a youth development nonprofit, and an internship. He is the kind of talent every employer in this room wants to hire because he was ready for work. So I introduce to you Brandon Bailey. He's a 2011 graduate of Largo High School, where he attended a finance career academy. He's going to share his experience of transitioning from high school to career with the support of his career academy and one of the Youth Connect nonprofits, Year Up. Brandon.
How you doing? Good. Play ball at Howard? Yes, I did, sir. You're a great guy. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is my absolute pleasure to be here with people that care about the future and the vision of Prince George's County students, my peers, and myself. I did play basketball at Howard University on a full scholarship right after. Yes. And as you can imagine, playing college basketball as an 18-year-old is basically a dream. You know, campus life is great. Everyone knows you. You have a team of people that you can call family. Everything is wonderful. To add to that, I saw that everything was great, but I realized I'm gonna have to actually do something after these 4 years. A championship is not gonna help me when it's all said and done. So, what I decided to do is I decided to think on myself and think about how can I make an investment into my future and into my career. Playing basketball, I didn't necessarily get the time to do everything and go to extracurricular events and, you know, meet new people and network. So what I decided to do is what my coach knocked me on the head for. I decided to leave Howard University and fend for myself and find a way on my own at 18 years old. Right after I left Howard University, I realized, hey, it's a great thing to be out on your own and to be trying to figure it out, but life actually hit me. So the dream of starting a business and, you know, working with other people of similar ideas, that had to be put on halt because I had to actually make an income. So I decided to get a job at Popeyes, and I was working there as a fry cook. Everything was great, you know, but I didn't think that this is where I would end up. I didn't think that, I thought I had more potential in myself. So this is when Europe actually was presented to me by a friend of a friend. This sounded almost too good to be true. I was told that I would get college credits. I was told that I would take technical classes and get an internship all for free. Not to mention, I would get a stipend on top of that. So, of course, I had no choice but to agree. When I got into Europe, I made some of the best friends that to this day, it seems like I've known them for several years. Together, we learned technical skills and we learned soft skills, or as I like to call them, life skills. On the technical side of things, we learned to break down computers and build them back up from scratch. We learned to do Excel spreadsheets and pivot tables, and we even learned to develop websites. This is something I almost never imagined myself being able to do. On the soft skills or life skills side of things, we learned how to publicly speak. We learned how to assert ourselves in large groups and how to work with other people with different personalities. And most importantly, we learned to listen as well. Before Europe and actually in high school, I was in my career academy, and they taught us finance. They taught us just different life skills, logistics. I learned to manage my own events. I was able to do so much more and expose myself to life outside of high school. To me, this was tremendously priceless. It gave me a chance to actually seek success instead of just dreaming about it. Where am I today? In a month from now, I'll be starting my first job as a SharePoint administrator with Vencor, who is partnering with the Department of Homeland Security. And this is just the beginning for me. In 2017, I plan to release my own service-oriented phone application. I plan to change the lives of other people around myself because I was actually empowered in these programs, in this career academy in Europe. It's important to note that I was successful in the process of going through these academies and going through Europe, but there are thousands of other students like me who just need the proper support and guidance just to have some sort of direction. There are so many intelligent students and classmates of mine that just didn't have the support behind them. They didn't have the parents. They didn't have the community to actually support them as they felt they should be supported. So, Ready for Work systematically exposes these students to opportunities outside of just high school, outside of just what they see every day in the hallways. I think it is priceless and invaluable to make sure that our students don't only look up to rappers and athletes, but they also see people in suit and tie, people that can go and be respectful, people that can run businesses, people that can be in IT, and people that can do math. I think they shouldn't have to learn this after they get out of school, after life hits them. I think it's truly important to make sure that they're aware of what's going on while they're in high school. Lastly, I want to say this because I can attest to this myself. I want to encourage everyone here not to just invest, but I want everyone to go out and become a mentor to at least one person. Let somebody else know how you got to where you got. Let people know the path that you took and the struggles that you faced so that it will encourage them and inspire them to continue to learn and grow. Thank you.
So before we take a break, so that you all can eat, I did just want to mention one thing about something that Brandon said, and he said it very fast. He said that one of the things that they learned about in the Career Academy was doing pivot tables. Okay, so pivot tables are something that you do in Microsoft Excel. And in my years of running a business here in the county, I have interviewed hundreds of people. And one of the things that I learned to do over that time to see just what their Excel skills were, because it's hard to really figure it out, is to ask them a question. And that is, what's the hardest thing that you know how to do in Excel? And over all the years, I've probably had 4 people that told me that they knew how to do pivot tables. I hired every one of them, and none of them were as young as Brandon. So that just goes to show you the power of Ready for Work and what it does to have kids, young people, young adults ready for work when they come and they sit down and they talk to you about getting a job. Okay, so once again, a hand for Brandon. So at this time, we're going to take a break and allow... You'll remember from Carol's speech that she explained how important it is for local employers to provide internships and jobs. Our next speaker will speak directly to that point. Danny Wegman is the CEO of Wegmans Food Markets. Danny shares the same vision as Milt Peterson and his family that is emblematic of those successful business people that invested in Prince George's County when it wasn't as popular as it is now because of them. Danny and the Wegmans family saw the potential in the high-end grocery store market before Harris Teeter in Laurel or Whole Foods in College Park. Wegmans opened at Woodmore Town Center in 2010 because of the family's vision. So I introduce to you Danny Wegman, CEO of Wegmans Food Markets and a VPP investor who will speak to the solutions business leaders can offer to develop our workforce. He will describe how his company has benefited investing in youth workforce development. Danny?
Thanks, Brad. Carol mentioned that she had some women bosses in her life. Well, I have a wife and 2 daughters, and I know what that's like, Carol. So we consider ourselves a mission-driven company, and our mission is healthier, better lives through food. And I guess there was a corollary to that my dad had, and he always said, never think about yourself, always think of others. And when we do that, the others we think of are young people who need help. And so that's something I inherited from my dad. Back in 1964, there were 2 race riots in America. One was in Detroit, the other is from Rochester, New York, and that's where we're from. So we've had severe racial problems, minority problems, as Hispanic population has grown in Rochester. And in 1986, the mayor of Rochester challenged us to help the graduation rate in Rochester. It was in the 30s. So my father had a couple objectives. One was to raise the graduation rate. 2, our stores were not in the city because our stores were too big. And so we had a hard time hiring minorities. And then since we didn't hire that many minorities, we had a hard time having a minority workforce. So the 3 goals we had was to raise the graduation rate in the city, to hire minorities, and to keep minorities. Now, what we knew was that if folks would come and work at Wegmans and did well in the job. Now, we hire 15 and 16-year-olds as a rule. That's what we do. And so we knew that if kids did well for us, that they would do well in school. We'd started a scholarship program back in 1982, so we would argue with the folks who read our kids' credentials to go to college that they should accept these kids because we knew they were good. So we felt that if they came, if we could get minorities to come and work for us, that they would do well in school. That was our whole program. But we started off with 30 kids. Now these kids weren't the top of the class. All 30 were predicted to drop out of school. And I said to my dad, why are we doing this? We're a proud company. We believe in success, we believe in high standards, and we're gonna tackle kids who are predicted to not make it. Nevertheless, we stayed with it. 2 years later, we graduated 24 out of the 30, 60%, 66. So it worked. What were the benefits to Wegmans? The turnover with our employees, young employees from the inner city, was 100%. That means, on average, a year. So, if it cost us $5,000 to train that employee, that was $5,000 a year. Once we started this program and the program matured, our turnover this year with young folks from the cities is 15%. That means that the kids are staying with us 7 years. So, okay, that means you eliminate the training expense for 6 years. So 6 times 5,000 is $30,000. Not a bad return. I don't know if there are any math majors around, but that's pretty good. And it costs about $20,000 for this program. So at least the economics are really there. It definitely does. Now, what do the youngsters learn? The first thing they learn is to show up. You may laugh at that. No, they don't know. Oh, I didn't make it today? Okay. Nope, that doesn't work. Second thing they learn is to be on time. Well, I'm here. No. You were supposed to be here at 3:30. The other thing, the next thing they learn is if you see something you like a nice magazine, just don't take it. It's called stealing. Work as a team. Help others, they'll help you. Teamwork. And the toughest thing of all is to teach young folks, when someone comes through your line as a cashier and they're rude to you, you don't be rude back. Now that behavior doesn't work in many parts of the world. And we know that. You have to stand up for yourself. But in our store, in the checkout line, you have to figure out, how do I take that person who's having a bad day and have them leave with a smile on their face? And that's the hardest thing for our young people to learn, and they do it. The aha moment is when they see that they can do their job better than the folks that don't have the same problems they do. They're all of a sudden the star. I am good. They see this. Numbers count. They learn math skills because they see how the math skills are used. They're used on the job every day. They want to learn. And that's what makes a difference. They learn how to express themselves very well, because the kids who can express themselves the best get a job selling and sampling food and talking to customers and helping customers. And guess what? They love it. They're off the front end, so they earn their way off the front end through the skills that they learned. Most of all, they learn that they can do anything. They can be a success at Wegmans. If they don't want to stay at Wegmans, they can be a success wherever they go. For over 5 years, I've been involved in economic development in Western New York. What's that about? Jobs, jobs, jobs. Now, there are a lot of folks with college degrees, and there's a lot of discussion about the community college degrees where you learn skills and you have advanced manufacturing jobs where you don't need a 4-year degree or something like this. But one of the things I've come to notice is that the food industry, which is what obviously I've spent my life in, doesn't require all of these skills, because you can learn them as you go. Whether it's growing food, and we have our own organic farm, so we're very familiar with that. Whether we're retailing food, which is what we do as a primary business, whether we're preparing food, whether we're running restaurants. And many of the restaurant chefs begin washing dishes. So you don't need the intellectual skills in our business, many parts of it. Can you use them? Yes. And if you get excited and you want to learn more, that's great. But we are an entry-level job for many, many folks. Can I redefine entry-level job, please? What it really means is first job. You don't get a second job if you didn't have that first job. And we are a great place for it. And you don't realize that all the time. We keep looking for these lofty goals. Again, what do you learn on that first job? You learn to be on time, you learn to be reliable, you learn to be trustworthy, you learn teamwork. In many ways, this means more than a degree, but it can lead to a degree. What about graduation rates? Today in Rochester, the overall graduation rate is still less than 50%. With the kids in work scholarship, last year it was 83%. Not bad. How about Prince George's County? We began with 220 students in 2012. Today, we have nearly 700. By 2018, we'll have 1,000. Not us, it's you folks. The funding is about 50% between private and public. That's terrific. Graduation rate so far? 95%, over 95. Wow, huh? From the 30 students we started with in 1987, there are now 4,000 students, more than 4,000 in Work Scholarship Connection. The Hillside employees at Wegmans in Prince George's County, in 2011, we had 6. Today, we have 39. 19 are alumni from either our store in Prince George's County or from other stores around our chain. 2 of our assistant managers, we have 4 assistant managers, are Work Scholarship Connections students. That's a really good job, folks. We have 2 department managers too. These folks aren't just there doing beginning jobs. They're growing, they're learning. They're knocking it out of the park. Prince George's County is a shining star. Why? It's basically a self-sufficient in helping young people in need. It's absolutely amazing how you folks work together. We run this program in Buffalo, New York, in Rochester, New York, and Syracuse, New York. We have nothing like your cooperation anywhere. Everyone fights, everyone disagrees, everyone points fingers. You folks are doing this. I'm so proud. Each year, Wegmans contributes over $5 million to Work Scholarship. Since 1986, we've contributed over $80 million for young students, trying to help them. We certainly can't do it alone. I applaud venture partners and Carol Thompson Cole for the work she's done to help young people. If more people saw the world like Carol, we would have a very different world. Thank you very much.
You've heard from a young person and a businessman, and they've given you real-life examples of why Ready for Work will be successful. Now let's hear from the Prince George's County Public Schools CEO, Dr. Kevin Maxwell. I met Dr. Maxwell when County Executive Baker was considering him as his first CEO of the school district. I was impressed with a number of things about him, but one thing that stuck out to me was his belief in the need to expand programs within the district that have proven successful in getting students both career and college ready. It is that belief that has fueled his commitment to expanding the career academies and partnering with VPP to implement the Ready for Work program. Dr. Maxwell will explain the massive impact Ready for Work will have on the school district as a whole.
May know, like everybody in here, we have stories, but I did grow up in Prince George's County. I attended school here since the 3rd grade. I've never left. Some of you heard I worked in other places, but I lived here that whole time. I graduated from Bladensburg High School. I have 1 brother and 1 sister. I'm the only one that graduated from high school. My mom was a file clerk, single mom, who worked for the U.S. Senate. And I tried going to community college, couldn't afford it. I learned, how difficult it was to work full-time and to try to go to school full-time. So I quit and joined the Navy. And I did some active duty time and some active reserve duty time and got the GI Bill and returned to the community college once I got on the day shift at Bethesda Naval Hospital. I got out of the Navy, and the next week I started at the University of Maryland College Park. I know there's a lot of Howard people and other folks around, but I'm a proud Terp, and I'm hoping that we can handle. I'm hoping we can handle Minnesota tonight. We didn't do so well last Saturday, but I say that to say I'm the first one in my family to go to college. And I worked hard to get there. First in the Navy to get the GI Bill, and then worked full-time while I did my master's and full-time while I did my PhD. No small effort. So when I first started, I had trouble working full-time and going to school full-time. I learned later it's just a way of life. It's what you learn to do is to work hard. Again, a lot of you in this area know that I returned home because I value this community. I think it's a wonderful community. I raised my kids here, and my wife retired with 36 years of teaching in the Prince George's County Public Schools. I am proud that 3 of my 4 children are educators. I'm about to have my 5th grandchild in September. I hope that all 5 of them will be educators. We'll see. But we need people to believe in that ability to rise, in that ability to improve yourself. I returned here when the opportunity came, and I refer to it as an opportunity because I certainly didn't have to return home to do this. But being vested in this community, I saw the turnover in the school district, and when I returned, I was the 8th person in 14 years. That can't advance any organization. It can't advance yours. It can't advance ours. And I'm going to fix that, by the way. If everything goes according to the plan, I'm counting the years. I have 1 more year on this first 4-year contract, and hopefully we'll have a 4th one in place a year from now. A second 4-year term, I should say. Running a large organization is not an easy thing, and many of you in this room know that, especially one, again, that's had challenges and turnover. But we're committed to the hard work to make the long-range difference, not just the short-term things. You have read about our district over the last couple of weeks for all of the wrong reasons. But you may have missed in some of that period of time, that same period of time, you may have missed an announcement about graduation rates in our district. And in 2 years, I'm in my 3rd year, so we have numbers from the first 2 years. In our first year, together as an executive team, and with the hard work of our principals, some of whom we have here and others, we rose 2.47% in graduation rate overall in the district. And in this past year, which was just announced last Friday, we rose 2.16% for a total of 4.63% in only 2 years. We are so large, thank you. We are so large that when our rates go up, the entire state's rate goes up, and therefore we chase ourselves in some degree. But that's important because the high school diploma is a real key. It's a real important thing. Other things in the news, just in this last week, we had Angela Malone, teacher at Oxon Hill Middle School, right down the street from here. Received a check yesterday from the Milken Foundation for Excellence in Teaching, $25,000 as a Milken Award winner, the only one in the state of Maryland, only one of 40 in the United States. People are paying attention. Some other things, just in the last year, we graduated our first, last June, we graduated our first class of the Academy of Health Sciences, a partnership with businesses and higher ed, a middle college program. Almost 100% of the kids graduated from high school that morning, and that evening, I think 98 out of 100 graduated with their associate's degree at the community college without their parents paying much in the way of tuition, some fees, I believe. That's a unique opportunity that not many children get, but it's the kind of work we're trying to accomplish in Prince George's County, and that we need your help to do. We cut the ribbon on the dreams of some people for a number of years now, but we opened a finance park with junior achievement in the business community this past fall. The first one in Maryland. I hear rumors that Montgomery County wants to follow our lead. I'm glad they're learning to follow. But venture philanthropy and the work, when I came back, it was, I do want to, just if I could just for just a minute to go back to graduation rates for a minute. Those of you that, again, are in this region, you understand the inside the Beltway, outside the Beltway, you know, those kind of conversations. But I just want to highlight that Fairmont Heights, their graduation rate went up 13.4% last year. Inside the Beltway, right outside of DC, 13.4%. Potomac High School, right down the street from here, 13.19%. Suitland, 6.91%. Our 2.16 came from some of our toughest schools with the hardest lift, the hardest work, because in collaboration with programs like Venture Philanthropy, like Youth Career Connect, like Youth Career, I don't know, there's too many of them, the Department of Labor grant, and the work with VPP, Hillside, businesses, it's all giving kids an opportunity. Kids graduate at higher rates when they're connected to something important, meaningful, some vision or dream for where they are able to go, what they can possibly do. And if we don't offer that to them, it isn't just, look, test scores are really important. Math and reading are really important. They're really, really fundamental. Kids need to see a reason why they're important. We know why they're important. Everybody in this room knows why they're important. We have to help our children. We have to help our students understand that we're not just teaching that to bore you to death today. We're teaching it to you for a reason, right? You need those skills to be able to work. But there are a lot of kids in our system that, you know, they don't have experiences in their life that really show the value of that, and we need to help lead that for a better community, for a long-range improvement of the community plan. I came back to roll up my sleeves and to do some really hard work with my eyes wide open and understanding what it took. I've been thrilled to have, you know, the support and partnership of Rashawn Baker, the county government, the Economic Development Corporation, businesses like yours, Venture Philanthropy, and the hard work they do with these kids. Their graduation rate went up higher than the county's, but it helps lift our school district. Every single one of those kids that graduates that wouldn't have graduated at a higher rate helps our district. It's programs like this that will help lead us forward in the work, and we need your commitment and we need your help to do that. I've been so impressed. I'll tell you know, when I first got here, you may imagine that being one of the largest districts in the country, which I assume you all know we are, it's a little bit, you know, busy, and there's a lot of demands on your time. And when these folks called my office about, you know, board meetings and, you know, all these things with a regular, you know, basis, I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to that. And let me just say, I've never turned down a meeting. I've never turned down an appointment with anybody that wants to come in and talk, because it only took me one conversation with them to really understand the importance of the work that they're doing and the value that they bring to it. It's made me rethink a whole lot about the way we run the school system. For example, I have an advisory board of business people, but I am in the process right now of trying to retool that to better align it with these career academies, because we need help getting kids internships. We need help getting kids the summer opportunities to really understand, you know, the job and what it takes to be in the job, and to help get that cycle of learning skills, jobs, learning skills, jobs. So, you know, I appreciate you being here. I can't tell you how much, because by ourselves and alone, none of us can do it. You can't find the best employees possible by yourself. You need schools, wherever they are, to produce those kids. We can do a better job of that if we're having a better, more frequent, deep conversation about what that takes and what it looks like. I can teach my kids in an academy about finances or health sciences, but if my kids don't have an opportunity, and I should stop saying my kids, they're our kids. Everybody in this room, these are our kids, right? But if they don't have that opportunity to really translate that classroom work into real life job experiences that helps get them that leg up, that foot up, that opportunity to move forward, then there's not a whole lot of point in some of the work, right? These career academies, teaching kids about the up and coming jobs, IT. By the way, we have an IT student at Fairmont Heights High School that will graduate this spring that has been accepted to MIT. We have a student board member. Thank you. We have a student board member this year, Ava Perry, who's been accepted to Wharton. We have some outstanding children. And we have a whole lot of other children right there on the cusp, but they need all of us. Thank you.
I know this man well from our days at Howard University as fraternity brothers. And during that time, I tell this story sometimes, and we were pledging the same fraternity, and he was in charge. He was the line president during the last week, which is the toughest week. And there were 18 of us that he led through what at that time was easily the worst week of our life. And he did it the same way he does it now. And I saw him as county executive make decision after decision that flew in the face of smart politics and set an example for good governance and leadership. I've seen his unwavering commitment to economic development and his belief that improving education in the county was the key to unlocking our full potential. So to explain why Ready for Work is so important to Prince George's County and the entire DC metro region, I welcome the chief visionary in our county executive, Rashawn Baker.
I'm trying to figure out why David Hillman laughed when you said chief visionary. Don't do that, David. Can we give Brad Seaman another round of applause? He is absolutely right. He is. I miss having him go before me and then clean up when I say something crazy, which I'm often likely to do. Before I get started, I'll try to be very brief. You've been very patient with us. If I could have those members who currently work for the county government stand up so we can give them a round of applause. Betty, Tahani. You did the right thing, Dr. Maxwell. You'll get that later. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to try and be brief. I think you understand why you're here and why we asked you here. We've had some really terrific speakers. Thank you, Carol Thompson, for bringing VPP here to Prince George's County. I knew VPP when I worked in the nonprofit world, and I tried for 10 years to get VPP's money and partnership, and it didn't work. And Artist Hampshire Cowan said, well, we got to get them out here to the county. And when Artist tells you to do something, you just find a way to do it. So I do what I do best, and I said, Bradford, we got to get VPP out here to the county. And they brought him in. But really what I want to talk to you about is, why this is so important. And unlike, Dr. Maxwell, and the conversation I was having with David Hillman, and I tell this story a lot, but I normally tell it to young people, figuring they've never seen me speak before, so it's new to them. Those who know me know it's not new. And the story I tell is about guilt. Guilt is a very powerful thing. Just think about it for a minute. It's very powerful. And in my life, it was the most powerful thing that ever happened to me. And it was because as a child growing up, I struggled in school. I repeated the first and the second grade, so I was 2 years older than my peers. I got kicked out of every school in the United States and 2 in Okinawa, Japan. So clearly there was nothing to indicate in my background that I would achieve much, let alone go to college. But I had 2 parents no matter what I did, it never occurred to them that their little boy was never going to college. It never occurred to them that every time I did something and every time I failed, that they should not be there to undergird me. It never occurred to them. It was life. They wrapped around the services we're talking about right now into my life. It never occurred to me that that's what they were doing until I was 17 years old, went to a school in Beverly, Massachusetts, where I was the only black child, other than my brother, in that school. And my teacher, because I played football, believe it or not, I was a football player. I couldn't go to Howard and play football, but I was a football player. But in order for me to play football, I had to have at least a C average. And a teacher in that school made me do extra credit. And she made me read 1 or 2 books. I had a choice, Wuthering Heights or Black Boy. Being the smart 17-year-old that I am, I picked Black Boy. It was reading Richard Wright's life and story that made me realize the difference between me and my cousins. Why at family reunions people were talking about their interaction with the law, and I couldn't figure out why that was. And the reason was because I was blessed. I was blessed. I didn't struggle. I didn't have to quit school and go to the Navy. I didn't have to make a choice between work or school. And it made me feel guilty as hell. That here I was, given all of this, and I took it for granted. It was at that moment that I decided that I had to do something to assuage my guilt. I had at 17 to make sure everybody I knew had the same opportunities that I got simply because I was blessed. And it was my father who I was debating with or watching TV, watching somebody on, a politician, a local politician, and I was raving about how this guy just doesn't care. The community's been the same. He's been there 20 years, nothing has changed. And he said, if you think you can do better, you should run. And I said, you know what? That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna prove that you can hold on to your values and change a community. Guilt. From that day to this day is what motivates me. Second person I blame for guilt is my wife. Yes, she's a dear, great person, and I love her very much, and she makes me guilty every single day. Every single day that I am county executive, I am guilty. Because for 8 years of her life and my children's life, I wanted to be county executive. I thought about nothing else but how I can be county executive. And for 8 years of her life, she did nothing but pour that into me and do everything she possibly can to make sure I became county executive. And I feel guilty. Because when you sacrifice 8 years of your life, 8 years of your children's life for somebody's dream, it's not for them to sit in an office, be driven around, or to stand still. It is for you to do the things that you said you were going to do. It is for you to provide the opportunities that everybody should get that you got. It is for you to provide dynamic change. That's what I asked Brad Seaman to do. He's got it wrong when he talks about T&I. I did not ask about T&I. I said, Brad Seaman, why can't my government respond the way that the police department does? That's what I want. Brad Seaman, why can't people in Suitland get the same education that I got? That's what I want, and I want it now. So when we ask you to invest in this program, it's not because we just simply want you to do that. No. It is because I feel so guilty, I don't have a problem telling you I want you to be part of this. It's because I feel so guilty that I want you to feel guilty also. To say, why did we miss that child? Why didn't we provide them with the skills that would enable them to get a job, to make them college ready? Why? Why don't we have more Brandons? I want that to be the nagging thing in your voice and say, how can I change it? How can I change it in a way that people feel it long after I'm county executive? I'll end with this, and this is something Mr. Hillman said. We were talking about how he started his program at the University of Maryland or Prince George's Community College. And he said it started with a conversation of Ron Williams asking him about naming a building after himself. He said, oh, I want no building named after me. I want to be able to put people, kids, through college who could make enough money to afford an apartment and pay rent. Sounds pretty simple. I don't want a building named after me. I don't want a building named after you. I want some child that we don't know sit in this restaurant years from now, mentoring another child we don't know, talking about a program and not remembering who started it, but knowing that it changed their life. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. County Executive. I do not have to clean that up. Before I forget, let me say, anybody who didn't get a parking ticket, can you please see Marlon on your way out to get a parking ticket? Marlon's over here. So I'm going to close out. I think there were some pledge cards that were given out. Is that right? They're on the tables. And so, as the county executive said, we would really like to get your commitment to participate in this program. I want to give you 3 statistics that, Dr. Maxwell has given you a lot of stuff about career academies. We talked about it a lot. But career academies are a proven, effective strategy for doing a number of things that I want to share with you real quickly here. One is, and these are from studies conducted in both 2008 and 2011, they produce an increase in the percentage of young people living independently with children and a spouse or partner. Young men also experience positive impacts on marriage and being custodial parents. Number 2, 11% increase in average annual earnings was sustained over the 8-year study period, and it showed no signs of diminishing. The effect was concentrated in men who experienced a 17% increase in earnings. And then lastly, and this is a call to action for the business community, one of the observations in the studies was that since the end of the School to Work Opportunities Act, which ended in 2001 and provided funding that was used to expand career academy programs, the academies have struggled to provide work-based learning and career exploration experiences to their students. In particular, they have struggled to provide a capstone internship experience. Ready for Work is a career academies program on steroids. And the steroids are the energy, the enthusiasm, the internships, the financial resources that the business community can add to the $5 million that's already been raised in order to allow VPP to do its work, finish its job at Suitland High School, make the expansion to Oxon Hill and High Point, and we need you to do it. So I want to thank you all for coming this afternoon, and as we close, I'd like to really thank our co-sponsors for the event. First, the Peterson family, and then, of course, Venture Philanthropy Partners. And I'd also like to thank the VPP board members and investors who are attending here today. I see Jack Davies, Brig Owens, there are probably some others. If you're a VPP investor or board member, please raise your hand so people will know who you are. Lori Peterson. So again, thank you very much for coming. We hope you enjoyed it. We didn't go too far over time. It was a great meal. Drive safely and God bless you.